The Detroit Pistons dropped this game to the Phoenix Suns. And if I'm honest with you, I'm not mad about it. Some people in the Twitter zeitgeist are out there saying Cade needs help but I watched this game slowly, intentionally. Got NBA League Pass so I can pause and rewind and go back and check again. This game didn't represent a star player who needs help. This game represented to me a learning opportunity for the Detroit Pistons, but I would say even more so for Cade Cunningham, learning what it means to be counted on to be a star night in and night out. There's a certain point where, hey, if you are performing at a high level and you still can't get the wins, you need help. When you're not performing at the level of stardom that you have set a precedent for and you're falling just short, it's not about needing help. It's about you need to tinker with what you have going on to make sure you can show up consistently. And I want to dive into that in this video. But before I do, this video is brought to you by Bridges and Stone's Family and Relationship Care. It has been said no one changes until the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the pain of change. Well, Bridges and Stone's Family and Relationship Care is a space for individuals who are ready to change and challenge the normalcies that have kept them stuck in the same place. Contact Bridges and Stones today for a free consultation and take a step towards your greatest change. The link is in the description box below. Let me just leave it at this. This was a damn good game by the Detroit Pistons as a whole, as a team. People keep wanting to tinker with this roster and say, hey, let's bring in this guy, bring in that guy. The more I watch this team play, the more I'm saying, don't mess with it. Don't mess with it. It's working. And it's working in the best way, where the younger guys are beginning to steal minutes from the veterans. That's actually what you want to see. You want to see that your veterans give you a foundation. They buoy you. They give you an opportunity to stay competitive and stay in each game. But then the young talent you actually want to see continue to develop and learn and grow in a way that demands more time and minutes. And as a result, it eats into the veterans' minutes. And that's exactly what we're seeing. Ron Holland knocking down threes, even though he airballed that one in the fourth when they really needed it. But he's knocking down threes, showing that he could shoot with regularity and confidence while still remembering to get downhill and put pressure on the defense. Got out in transition. He looked great. Marcus Sasser is finally turning back into the Marcus Sasser of old, of last season, that we've all been waiting for. And I thought he did a phenomenal job of giving Cade a breather. Even in the fourth quarter, giving him a secondary offensive initiator. What I truly want to see is down the stretch, especially in the second half of the season, that I see Marcus Sasser stay just as aggressive, even with Cade on the floor. I don't want him deferring to Cade. I mean, there's most of the guys I do want deferring to Cade, but for Marcus Sasser, because his strength is in putting pressure on a defense, getting in to the chops of the defense, getting into the teeth of the defense, breaking it down, collapsing it, and creating opportunities for others. When he plays passively, looking to set up his teammates, he actually becomes more of a negative out on the court because he's no longer collapsing the defense. Now, I think at the same time, you also have to recognize that teams have put out an official scouting report, and I think you're going to see this more and more consistently, that teams are going to say, the other guys need to beat us. And when I say the other guys, I mean the non-volume three-point shooters. I think they have decided Tim Hardaway Jr. and Malik Beasley are not going to beat us. If Cade is going to beat us, we're going to pressure him 92 feet for a full game and wear him down because we believe that we can. Now, I believe JB Bickerstaff has done a phenomenal job of troubleshooting that, where he breaks up his rest in that second half, giving him that little extra 2-minute breather down the stretch of the fourth quarter. But at the same time, I think teams recognize that might be the formula to beat this team consistently. If you could pressure Cade full court from the beginning of the game to the end, You can break his rhythm. You can keep him from getting into a rhythm. And you got to sell out on those shooters. I mean, you got to be flying around, staying with those shooters with Tim Hardaway Jr. and Malik Beasley. And if you can do that, you're going to have a chance. But here's the thing. The Detroit defense is, I mean, it's just top tier. It's just top tier. The way that they consistently defend, challenge shots, play aggressively, even though they continue to not get the benefit of the whistle. There were quite a few calls in the first quarter, fourth quarter, and all throughout where it was kind of like, man, that was questionable. Man, that's a touch foul. Man, that's probably needs to get a second look. And hey, JB Bickerstaff, can I just say real quick, hey, have somebody else on your bench be the one to tell you to challenge or not, because not having that challenge in the fourth quarter when you needed it because you took a chance in the first quarter, man, let that go. Let that go. Have somebody who's got an iPad, who's got a team back there looking at it, and you look back at them and say, hey, should I challenge this? If you need to, call a timeout. Call a timeout. Let them look at it and then challenge. But don't just do it because you want the refs to call it differently. Don't do that, man, because you needed that. You needed that challenge in the second half. But all that's to say is that he's done a good job of kind of troubleshooting also Cade getting pressed. You saw it now throughout this game where they kept a big or forward in the backcourt to kind of set a little screen for Cade. And I also think Cade is figuring out he's got to speed up his game in order to not give the advantage to that pressuring defender. But all that's to say, when it came down to it, Cade has to do better. You can't shoot 27% and expect your team to win. Not when your other sidekick is out, which he was. Ivey is out, which means, Cade, we don't need you to always be phenomenal, but we do need you to be consistent. And I know it seems like, okay, you're picking at the guy who's already doing a phenomenal job. Yes, he is. And yet, I love how Cade put it at the end of the last game. He said, it's my job to do this, to carry this load. That's why I got the max extension. That's why I was the number one pick. I didn't work my behind off to get to this level to say, hey, don't give me a lot of responsibility. I didn't work hard so that you can say, hey, you know what? Now, make it a little bit easier for me because I don't want to have to do that much. I think Cade embraces this. I think he embraces the criticism and the critiques and the observance. By no means am I saying that he's doing a bad job. I'm just pointing out that if he's going to get to his goals, if this team's going to get to their goals, which they've already somewhat surpassed this season, but that all-star berth, he's going to have to be consistent. Because the last point I want to make is that, well, now that the media, the national media, the common fan is beginning to recognize his name, his game, his style, who he is on the court, they're watching for the first time. And to an extent, they're judging by a game-to-game basis. A game-to-game basis. And when you think about this all-star Eastern Conference lineup potentially, I mean, you got to look at, first of all, Cleveland. They could have 3 all-stars legitimately. They are running away. Them and Oklahoma City are running away in this track race for the Eastern Conference playoffs. Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley. It's not hard to vote those 3 in, but that's 2 guard spots already. Already. Then when you look at Boston, they got 2 forward spots at least. And hopefully they don't put, I mean, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, they play forward positions this season with Derek White and Drew Holiday. But now you start seeing it fill up. You got Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson, right, at the number 3 seed. Then you got Milwaukee at the number 4 seed. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Damian Lillard. Then you got Indiana at the number 5 seed. Pascal Siakam, Tyrese Halliburton, one of the hottest teams in the league. 8-2 in their last 10. Now looking at a record of 24-19. Literally only a half a game out of the number 4 seed. And then you drop down and you got Atlanta with Trae Young, right, at the number 6 seed. And then you have Orlando, Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner, can still make the All-Star game. So the point that I'm making is When you're the number 7 or number 8 seed and you're trying to convince other people why you should make it into the All-Star game above the guys who are leading their teams to a better record than yours and still playing phenomenally, this is what they're looking at from game to game. And like I said, you don't always have to be spectacular. But the shot that I've been saying, which I think we've all agreed is his bread and butter, getting into that mid-range, 10 to 15 feet, little drop his shoulder, use his body weight, physicality, bump that defender off, get that separation, knock that shot down. He hasn't been hitting it. That shot alone would have won this game for the Detroit Pistons. I'll say it again, that shot alone would have won the game for the Detroit Pistons. That had Cade been able to consistently knock down that little 10 to 15 foot, nice little soft touch jump shot that he's made all season, his whole career. Had he been knocking that down, even just at an average clip, let's say he makes 3 more of those, and he got about 8, 9, 10 of them, I think the Detroit Pistons win this game. So does he need help? No. No. It's not that you need a Zach LaVine or somebody else, even a Michael Porter Jr. As much as I like Michael Porter Jr., shoot, you got 21, 5, and 2 with the block from Tobias Harris, who shot 60%, 2 of 5 from the three-point line. Had a great game. Great game by all standards. Jalen Duren actually was a plus in this game. He was actually a plus. 15 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists. Only 1 turnover. He had the 4 fouls, but he was able to stay in the game. He's getting the help. Cade is getting the help. Now he has to consistently show up. Now that he's being viewed as a star, they want to see, can you respond? Can you consistently show up and be that star for your team? That is what this team is needing. And that's what I'm hoping and believing we're going to start seeing. I think it's just a small adjustment period, but he's figuring out what he has to do. And sometimes figuring out takes place when you're getting L's. But as always, I want to know what you all think. What do you think of the game? What do you think of the performance of the different teammates and such? Holler at me in the comments section. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and I'm going to get at y'all next time. Oh, and if you stayed with me until the end, drop a basketball hoop or a basketball in your comment, and I'm going to make special sure that whatever questions you got, comments you want to make, I'm going to respond. We can have a little back and forth. All right? I'm holler at y'all next time. Peace.